All the pieces of the common good system are pretty simple, but when you put them together, you get surprisingly wonderful results, enormous benefits to the community, especially in times of crisis. Here's how it works. You open an account at commongood.earth, sign an agreement, get a card in the mail, and put some money on it from your bank account. That money goes into a community fund, a bank account owned together by members in your area, and you get that much credit on your card, which you can then use to buy something at a participating business. The business uses a smartphone to safely scan your card or your phone, or you can pay online at no charge to either you or the business. Businesses love this because it saves them thousands on credit card fees, attracts customers, and provides some useful features like automated invoicing and collection. The business can then use the credit it got from you to pay its employees and suppliers. Those suppliers can then pay their employees and suppliers. Then all those employees become customers again, and the credit goes in circles. Meanwhile, the money you put in from your bank account is still there in the community fund. That's the float. It reflects the amount of credit being used in the system. That can get to be quite a lot, currently well over $100,000 with just a few hundred participants, and increasing as we grow. When someone gets more credit than they can easily spend within the system, they just move it to their bank account and it comes out of the community fund. So this amount goes up and down a little as it's growing. Then from time to time, we invest some of this money in worthwhile projects for the community and the common good. This gives us, collectively, a permanent income stream and a stake in our local businesses. We also make grants with backing from supportive members. To review, all that's essential about the common good system and how it works is you put money in, you get credit, the credit circulates, the community invests the float. Let's look at how this works in practice. After 15 years of development and testing in 3 states, in 2017, a small group here in Greenfield, Massachusetts, used $10,000 from the community fund for 8 great projects with a mix of investments and grants: equipment upgrades at a pay-what-you-can cafe, rooftop solar at a popular local restaurant, community shared solar through Co-op Power, a town-owned edible permaculture garden, revitalization of a regional performing arts center, 5 low-income farm shares through a local CSA, community art making to benefit local nonprofits, and a worker-owned compost cooperative empowering former prison inmates. Everyone was proud to support all these great projects at no cost to anyone individually. In 2018, we funded twice that much, again at no cost to any participant. And even at this tiny scale, we saved local businesses $70,000 in credit card fees. Common Good has now handled about $5 million in transactions, over 1,000 people participate, and about 200 businesses. This is great, but tiny compared to what we can do when more people participate. Let's look at what happens when we scale up to engage a whole region in this system, and why you might want to help make that happen. People typically keep more in their common good account than they use in a month. About 80% more on average, so they won't run out of money when they go buy groceries. This means the community fund always holds about 80% more than the amount changing hands in a month. Looking at this on a larger scale, here's where we are today. And the amount changing hands within a typical county every month is about $200 million. Let's say we get people to use common good for half of those transactions. Then there would be about $180 million in the community fund. How much is $180 million? Suppose this circle represents the 8 amazing projects we helped fund that first year. That much benefit to the common good. Let's shrink that down to a dot. Now here's what $180 million looks like. Enough to invest in thousands of local businesses and launch whole new multi-million-dollar industries. Suppose we get an average 2% return on those investments, $3.6 million a year, or about $10,000 a day. Saving $1 million of that for administrative costs, we might, for example, grant every year $100,000 each to a community college and a medical center, and every year $10,000 each to 10 social service organizations and schools, every year $3,000 each to 100 small nonprofits for sustainability, social justice, and the arts, and every year $160 a month to 1,000 families struggling to put food on the table. All of that is possible at no cost to anyone individually if people use Common Good for half the transactions in a typical county. The question is, what would you do with that money in your community? You get to decide. Funding decisions in the Common Good system are made democratically within each community, because that's the level where we see what's needed and where we care enough to make that our priority. So what would you do with $180 million? Support organizations working to make sure people have enough to eat and a place to live? Or invest in solar panels to free us from fossil fuels and save residents millions in electric costs? Or make low-interest loans to help local businesses survive the pandemic? You have choices. The Community Fund is just one surprisingly powerful benefit of the Common Good system. Other benefits to the community are harder to measure, but even more powerful. Do you want this free, simple, well-tested funding system for your community? Download our free open-source software, or just take 15 minutes right now and sign up. Then invite your friends, local businesses, and community leaders to join you. That's all it takes. To get started, visit commongood.earth. Your community isn't missing out on just $10,000 a day. People are struggling needlessly. Please sign up now.